podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
In a dystopian future of 2086, the city is split in two. The upper class lives in the upper half of the city, while the lower class lives in the slums. Cash is illegal in the lower city, and people there now use casino chips from the old world as currency. The upper class businessmen have created the Extreme Racing League. It's an automotive racing sport for entertainment. Anyone with a car who lives in the slums can enter. The prize? You guessed it, a pass to enter the city above. Crowned as a neon knight. Drivers for the VIP. What do you do when you get there is up to you, and another story in itself. You've spent all your chips on building the car and entering the league. Now it's time to prove your worth, and racing in a tournament can only be won by taking risks, pushing it to the limit, and upgrading your car. Do you have what it takes to join the Neon Knights?
Does that sound familiar to you? If not, don't worry, it didn't to me either. But that is a story of Neon Knights Championship, a new game on Kickstarter. And today we have the privilege of the mastermind behind it, or the creator, or where do you fit in to that, Luca? Is that how you pronounce it, Luca?
Yeah, that's my name. Basically, I did everything. I designed the game, and then I play tested it on scraps of paper and stuff. And eventually, once everything worked out properly, I got artists to give me the artwork that I needed, and designers, and just went from there.
Cool bean. So you have, like you said, you have a new game on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about it?
It's not really on Kickstarter yet. It's going to be in Kickstarter October 10th, but we're still working on the preview page of it, and we're going to be sharing that soon. We do have a Facebook group called the Neon Knights 2086. If you put the year, it's going to be easier to find that. And you could join that, and there's pictures there. There's work in progress. There's me actually like cutting up the prototypes, getting ready for Gen Con, which is like very, very soon.
And when this goes live, it'll probably be, because I have everything backed up through September, so it will probably be going when the episode launches. How long are you planning on having it go?
I've been following a lot of Kickstarter pages and articles and stuff, and a lot of people keep saying that 28 days is kind of like a sweet spot. So I'm probably going to run it for 28 days from October 10th.
Cool bean. So probably ending sometime in November, early November. It sounds like, probably, if I looked at a calendar.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
I'm
something like
not. My computer's kind of slow and whatnot. So
that. Yeah, the date I chose was because of a movie that's actually a movie and a TV show that's coming out the same month that kind of has the theme or the look of my game. So the first thing is the movie Blade Runner, which is coming out, and when I saw the trailer, I freaked out. I couldn't wait to see it. It looks amazing. And there's also Stranger Things season 2 coming out.
oh boy,
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. I
So
love
that's
part
the
one.
80s, and Neon Knights is kind of has that 80s look, 80s design and colors and stuff. So
Cool. Even though it's in the year 2086, it's still in
yeah,
the
that's it.
considered
It's
1980s.
100 years after the 80s, and the 80s are back, and people are just loving it, and they're dressing the same, and yeah, yeah. So
Awesome. Cool. So a lot of designers I talk to and stuff, they have an inspiration to the game they created. Did that come from the 80s, or the Blade Runner movie, or was there something that inspired you creating this game?
there was a lot of things. I play a lot of video games as well, and I like some racing games like Twisted Metal, and there was the other one. What's it called? Gran Turismo, which is like very a game where you actually like really tweak your car and upgrade your car. And I wanted to have a racing game kind of like that in the board game industry. There isn't that many, And every time I look for a racing game, it's always the same ones that turn up, like Formula D, which I'm not too fond of. There's Thunder Alley, which is really cool, and like Roadkill Rally. There was Flamme Rouge. All those racing games are cool, but I wanted something more like in the future with weapons and like battles and tournament style, kind of like I don't know, the Running Man meets Death Race, if that makes any sense.
Not to me. But I'm kind of new to the industry myself. Like if I were to play this game or whatnot, would I be rolling dice and going around the board, or how? What kind of mechanics are you using?
That's one of the things I want to avoid the most is rolling and then moving. There are dice in the game, but it's not to move. The dice are to see if you're taking damage during a curve or not. So when you take a curve, you could roll the dice. If you're going too fast, the faster you're going, the more dice you're gonna roll. And if it's kind of like a push your luck, so if you get damaged during that roll, you're gonna lose fans, and fans are victory points at the end of the game. But if you take a curve and you pushed your luck and you roll the dice and you didn't take any damage, then you're kind of drifting the curve, or you're doing a stunt to make the curve really like cool looking, so the fans go wild and then you gain fans. So there's a lot of elements during the race where you have to like try to gain fans, push your luck, use up your tires, your brakes, and stuff like that to try to advance and pass the other players, all while shooting at them.
Cool. So do they have pit stops and stuff too? I've seen some racing movies and stuff. Do they have pit stops where you have to pull into the pit stop and fix things and whatnot?
No, there's no pit stops, but it is the future. So there's like these pods that you could drive through, and they're gonna repair your car, or you could have an automated arm that's on your car that's repairing your car as you're racing, kind of like R2D2 does on like the X-Wing and stuff like that. So there's ways of repairing your car, but it's not a pit stop. You're doing it on the fly.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
Uh,
So let's see here. And how are you advancing? Besides, I know when you're going around the curves, you're rolling the dice. How do you advance in the game? I know you're getting fans and stuff, but how do you advance around the racetrack? I guess I would say.
Yeah, well, you have before the race, there's the round is split in two phases. One of them is action phases where all the players are like trying to collect money or collect sponsors and using that money to buy parts. And what you're doing is buying brakes, engines, turbos, and tires. Those are the four main parts of the game. And as you install these parts on your car, you can accelerate or decelerate faster than other players depending on what parts you've installed. So at the beginning of your turn, if you decide, okay, I'm going to accelerate, then you move your accelerator up, and that's gonna give you a number, and that number is how many spaces you have to move up to.
Cool. It reminds me of. I wish I knew the name of the game, but I want to say when I was playing the first Nintendo system, there was something where you went ahead and designed your car or whatnot at first, and then raced around a track. I don't remember, but it kind of has that vibe or whatnot.
Was it Rock and Roll Racing?
It could have been. I don't know.
That was one of my favorites. Rock and Roll Racing, man. That was like the music was amazing, and there also you could choose your weapons if you wanted missiles or oil slicks and stuff like that. It was really cool.
Cool. So you're designing the car at first, and then let's see, and then you're gaming fans going around the thing. That sounds really cool, like a cool game. So, um,
Yeah.
so you.
It's not just a racing game though. Like it is a racing game, but at the beginning of each round, you have this action phase. This like it feels like a Euro game where you're taking actions and you're trying to like set up your car. There's even sabotage, so you could sabotage other players' cars. Um, and at the end of the race, you gain experience depending on what you did. So there's three major companies. There's the gun company, the shield company, and the electrical company. And these companies are sponsors. And the more stuff you use of their company on the race, so if you use a gun during the race, your reputation with the gun company is going to increase. And as you increase, these are experience points that you could use to buy um, skills for your driver. So as you play, you're getting these XPs and you're buying these skills and you're leveling up your driver, and it has like a campaign style feel to the game.
Mhm.
So you could play and every game if you want to play campaign mode, you could just keep leveling up your driver as you play, and you could play up to like 16 to 20 rounds for a full like campaign. and that's really the fun part. It's leveling up your driver at the end and getting those fans and getting those victory points.
Oh, cool. So, and you talk of an action phase. It sounds like there's other phases. What other phases are there?
Well, there's the first action phase is basically it's very thematic. So it's basically a week. So every day of the week you could take one action. So on Mondays, for example, if I want to get a sponsor, I'll take the sponsorship action. And then on Tuesday, if I want to buy a part and I have enough money, I'll use my money to buy that part. And then on Wednesday, if I want to take the install action, the part that I bought, which was in my hand, is now installed on my car. So you're taking the week to basically set up your car and acquire money and repair. Also, you have to repair your car. Um, and then when you reach Sunday, that's when the race begins. And on Thursday, you actually get a payday,
Oh, there
kind
you
of like in
go.
real life. Yeah.
So you're doing that throughout the week or whatnot, and so you're building your car. Okay, so you're doing that, and you're building your car and whatnot, and then after that, is there another phase like where you're actually racing?
Yeah. So once you reach Sunday, everything stops, and the race starts. And what's cool is that the track is modular, so you could choose how the track is laid out. And the player who's in last, who has the least victory points, gets to choose how to lay out the track. So he has kind of like uh, an advantage. Yeah, but it's still very fair for everybody, because I mean everybody is on the same track. And once the track is laid out, the first player will move his car. He was going to decide his speed and then move his car, and then the second, and so on. And once everybody has moved, whoever's going fastest is going to go first the next round, and so on until a player reaches the finish line. When a player reaches the finish line, he has to check, make sure that he has some fans left. If he has no fans, he's not getting a lot of victory points, meaning that he went through the race really fast and he was just like cornering and hitting all the walls and railing the walls, and he wasn't he wasn't doing very well, but he came in first. But the fans don't like that kind of like aggressive racing, and
So you can win the race, but not win the game.
exactly, yeah. So coming in third or fourth, but you drove really well, and you still have a lot of health, and you have a lot of fans. You might get more victory points than coming in the first place. So you have to drive well. Yeah, you have to balance your push your luck element and then your driving element.
Cool. That's really cool. That's what I was going to ask you. How do you represent all the stuff that you do to your car? Is there certain cards that I draw out of, or how do you represent all that stuff?
Yeah, so each player has a player board, and on the player board you have these sections at the bottom, and they're color coded. So like red is for brakes, orange is for tires, yellow is for the engine, and then green is for the turbo. So if I buy a yellow part, I could install it at the bottom of my player board in the yellow section, and that's gonna add the engine to my car. So you could buy up to four parts for your car, and they all vary and they all have special unique abilities also. Um, so let's say you're driving and you're gonna take a curve, you could use your brakes or use your tires to slow down faster so that you don't take too much damage around the curve. But then you lose your tires, so you have to balance out.
So what's the part of the game that you're most proud of, Luca?
Uh, that every round is a race. I kind of like that a lot. I had that same mechanic in Street Kings, but a lot of people came back to me and said that it would be cool if the track was actually like top view and you could actually see the track, and it would be cool if cars had some kind of weapons or ways of interacting. So I took everything that everybody told me about Street Kings, and I kind of integrated it into Neon Knights, and I made it better. I made it a campaign mode. There's even like bets that fans are gonna place at the beginning of each race. You're gonna draw two
Hmm.
cards. These betting cards are basically fans that are saying, "Oh, if you start the race at maximum speed, we'll give you this much money." So it's all these like little dares that the fans are giving you, and if you do them, if you accomplish it, yeah, they give you money. So there's a lot of stuff in the game that's not in a lot of other racing games, and it's a very it feels like a dungeon crawler for some reason when we're playing because you're moving your pawn and you're attacking and you have defense, you have shields, like it's a dungeon crawl racer. It's just a mix of a lot of things that I like in board gaming, and it's all packed into one game.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, that sounds really like a really awesome game. And now it sounds like you might have a lot of choices. Do you have a lot of choices on what to do and what not?
Yeah, so like I said, some of the choices you could do is get a sponsor card. Once you get a sponsor card, you have to wait till payday, and once payday comes, which is the Thursday, you get the money that's on that card. Another action is to buy a part. Another one is to install a part. Then you could install weapons. You could install shields. You could pay 5 poker chips to repair one armor on your car. So if you take the repair actions, you could repair as many as you want, but you need to have the money. And to have the money, you're gonna have to accomplish those bets from the players and win some races. Um, those are
Well, now I'm told I suffer from analysis paralysis with all the different choices it sounds like you have. Are more people going to hate me because I'm going to take forever to do my turn? Or
No, it's one of those games where like you kind of could assume what you're gonna do next. It's not like by the time it comes back to your turn, all the actions have completely changed. Like you could set up your week right off the bat. You can say, okay, I'm gonna get a sponsor, I'm gonna repair this week, and I'm gonna install a part. So you have certain things like when you see that your car is really damaged, you know you have to take that action. So that's already one day chosen. You know what you're gonna do. Um, there's no analysis paralysis. We didn't see any of that during playtest. So it's very quick.
well, that's cool. And you're still playtesting, but during your playtesting so far, has there been any like part of the game that you've just had to totally scrap because it just wasn't going to work?
Oh man, I scrapped this game like 4 times. The whole game, like just completely scrapped it. I started off when I started designing this game, it was a mountain it was a mountain racing game. It was a uphill and downhill battle racing game. But there was no weapons. It was kind of like Initial D, which is a Japanese animation I'm a huge fan of. I was basing that game on Initial D. We play tested it, and then so much things changed, and it became this out of maybe 4 or 5 different games that I've played, that I've created, and then I just put them all together to make this game. It's over 2, 3 years that I'm working on this.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. And you talk of being you like a lot of things in the board gaming industry. How did you come into board gaming? How did you get interested in it?
First game I played was Fireball Island, I think, and that was like I think in the 80s and or 90s, and it was a 3D volcano, and you're like trying to climb the volcano, and then once in a while the volcano would spew this red marble that would come down, and if your climber was in the path, he'd knock you off the board, and I was like, this is so cool, you know. I just from there I just started playing games, and I just decided one day, let me test out my camera to do some video reviews for fun on YouTube. Uh, because, well, let me start from my backstory. I started, yeah, I was in school for television, and we had like projects where we were like filming and editing and stuff like that. And then I started getting into the wedding industry. So I do wedding videos. That's my full-time job actually, to do wedding videos. Yeah, that's my bread and butter. I mean, you can't really make a living on video reviews unless you're Tom Vassell, which gives you you get 250,000 during a Kickstarter season. That's pretty nice, but not everybody could be that. So yeah,
Well, hopefully people get married for you.
yeah. So that's just I decided, I'm gonna do video editing and video for weddings, which I still do now on weekends. I always do a video, and if anybody's interested, my website's called Push Play Productions. You could go see some of my wedding videos there. But after I bought a new camera, I was like, oh, let me just film my friends playing. So I think it was Descent, the first edition, or Game of Thrones, the first one. I like a really big dungeon crawler type game, and I'm like, oh, let me film it. It's gonna be cool with all the miniatures and everything. Then I put it online, and just it went from there. Like I just put it online, and then it exploded. People started contacting me, and companies were contacting me. Fantasy Flight contacted me, and they were like, "Oh, we'll send you." I think it was Rune Wars back then. We'll send you Rune Worlds, and you could do a review, and it was cool. So I was like, "Oh, this is cool. Maybe I should just continue," you know. And the fans ramped up. I got a lot of people to watch the show, so I was like, "Well, I can't stop now. People are watching my stuff."
So you're still doing that then?
Yeah, I'm doing the video reviews and the wedding videos. I also own.
And where do they find the game reviews, the video reviews?
They could go on YouTube on Bored to Death reviews, but bored spelled like board game, or they could go to boredtodeath.tv, and all my videos are there. I mean, we have a Facebook page also called Bored to Death Video Reviews. I mean, you just put Bored to Death on
Cool,
Google, and pretty sure you're gonna find it. Yeah.
cool beans. Yeah, it looks like you have. Wow, you're doing a lot better than me, but I don't have any content on my YouTube channel. But yeah, he has 11,400 uh, people subscribe to the channel. So make sure, of course, pull off to the side of the road if you're watching this, or just wait till you get where you're going. We don't want to cause an accident. You're going to watch a cool board game review on YouTube on Bored to Death. We don't want to cause an accident, or then you won't be able to play this cool game after backing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Of course. So yeah, so it looks like a pretty cool channel. I watched a little bit of it. I'm gonna have to check further out of that. Where else can they find you? Mind us coming to your hometown and stalking you. Where else can they find you?
Um, that's basically it. I mean, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Mostly, if you put Bored to Death TV or Bored to Death board game, you'll get a bunch of hits on different things. We're also on BoardGameGeek.com, which is like the biggest board game website there is. So you can find you can find us there and message us and stuff like that.
Cool beans. And now the last part of our show, Luca. I don't. You said you listened to one or a couple of our episodes, maybe. But we do something called the Adventures in Application Acquisition. Now, this doesn't have to be an application referring to a board game or the board gaming industry or whatnot. But is there any kind of applications, whether it be phone or tablet or even like a video game or a computer, what do you call it, application that you use that
Mm,
we could talk about for a
let's
minute?
see, what do I use? Like something I use the most. To be honest, I
Yeah, it could be a game, an application game. It could be just an application used. One day I had somebody who used a traveling application. It could be
well, I
anything.
use one of them is called what's it called again? Pixel Drifters or Drifter Pixels? Pixel, I think it's Pixel Drifters, and it's a top view racing game where you just click left or right to make your car drift left or right to try to get the coins. And I
Uh huh.
mean, that's I don't play a lot of cell phone games. If I do have time to play a game, I'll play on the PS4 or something. But that's one of the apps that I use, in case I'm on a train or a bus or something. Um,
Oh, there you go. Cool. So, can they find that? Do you know if they can find that on iOS and Android or
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. I know it's on Apple because that's what I use it on.
Apple?
But yeah,
Okay.
it should
So
be
you
there. I
have
mean,
an
it's
Apple
not a
Music.
complicated game. It's not something that the designers would just say, "Oh, let's put it only on one."
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy.
Oh, did it cost anything or is it free?
It's
Do
a
you
free game.
remember?
Yeah, it's a free game, and it's cool. You get to unlock these cars as you play, and you could look inside trunks to try to find some bonuses. And it's fun, and it's pixel, right? So a lot of people like the pixel art, like the Boss Monster board game or Pixel Tactics or all these games that are coming out that are pixelated. Actually, speaking of pixelated, I'll give you a little scoop after Neon Nights. Yeah, so after Neon Nights, uh, we have another game that we're gonna come out, and it's called The Pixel Dead, and it's basically a zombie sandbox game where you could play co-op or versus in a city filled with zombies, but the artwork's gonna be all like pixelated, like the old 8-bit, 9-bit.
Like 80s video games
Yeah,
or 90s
it's
video
gonna
games?
have that video game look, yeah. So That's
Cool,
that's
cool
the next
beans.
game.
Well, yeah, now you piqued my interest. We're gonna have to have you back on for sure, Luca, if you're
Yeah,
interested
yeah, for sure.
to talk about that one too.
Yeah, I started watching your show and I enjoy it, so I'm gonna like start watching it. And when I go to the gym, I'll put it on my treadmill to listen to list.
Oh, cool. Well, there you go. That's exciting. So going back to this application, if you had the rights to it and whatnot, what would be one thing you would do to improve it?
Hmm. The lag. It's really laggy. It's really lag. And when you're driving and you're hitting the coins, like every time you hit a coin, the bonus pops up. Like and then it covers like if you're hitting a lot of coins, there's a bunch of bonus numbers on your screen and it's covering your car and you don't know what angle your car's at anymore. And I would just I would just yeah try to fix the lag and just remove all those little bonus numbers popping up. Like nobody cares about those numbers. Just make the score go up. Like in the top corner, make the score go up, but don't have those numbers popping up.
Cool. Well, I doubt they're listening, but hopefully that'd be cool if they're listening. Maybe they can go ahead and fix that. You heard it here first.
Yeah, well, I think it's a small company, so who knows? Maybe I'll send them an email and they'll listen to me. You never know.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, yeah, well, we really appreciate you having you on the show, Luca.
My
And
pleasure, man.
so
My pleasure.
once again, just before we go, why should people take a chance on Neon Knights Championship when it's on Kickstarter?
Because it's gonna be the coolest racing game of the year. That's all I got.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. And when you mean the year,
2018.
when I know we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but when they back it and
Yeah.
whatnot, do you have an expected time when we might be able to get the game in our hands?
Well, because of my previous Kickstarter, I know that it takes about 4 to 5 months. So 4 to 5 months after October should be in everybody's hands. So it's gonna be 2018, early 2018.
Cool. So you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Neon Knights Championship will be the hottest racing game of 2019, but in 2018, October through November, you have a chance to go ahead and back that on the Kickstarters.
Yeah.
And once again, thanks for joining us, Luca. We really appreciate having you
Thank
on.
you, man. It was my pleasure. And I mean, if I'm stuttering a lot or everything, I apologize to the viewers out there or the listeners because it's basically I think my first or maybe second interview ever. So a
Oh,
little,
well, I think you did great.
a little
Yeah.
shy.
You have to go back to my first interview. It was probably not very good, but yeah, I think you nailed it, Luca. And
Awesome. Thank you.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.